2 Peter 2 and just one verse. 2 Peter 2 and verse 4. 2 Peter 2 and 4. Go ahead.
For God spared not the angels that sinned,
but
cast them down to hell.
Wait a minute. He said God spared not the angels that sinned. That's Satan and his crew, because there was a bunch of them. They sinned. They messed up. They had the choice, just like we got choices to go left or right, up or down. We got choices we make where they had the same choice and they made the wrong one. So it said, for if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down where?
To hell.
To hell. Wait a minute. Hell, when they go to hell? How they get to hell now? Because earth, the situation that they in, as opposed to being in heaven, guess what it's called? Hell. Even though it's right here on earth. This ain't, see, people read this, they say, see the devil in hell. He under the ground, he in hell, he gonna get you. Wait till you get there, he gonna get you. Nah, this don't mean the devil is in hell fire. The devil is right where we just read he was at, on the earth, right?
That's right.
Knowing that he got a short time before he do bite the dust in hell. Hell fire. But what it mean hell here? It said, for if God spared not the angels of sin, but cast them down to hell. Finish that.
And deliver them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment.
See, they still haven't been judged yet. We haven't got to judgment day. So they are reserved, waiting on judgment. So they cannot be in hell fire. They're not in hell fire. Their status as being on the earth where they got kicked out to, that is a condition of hell for them. You know, you up in heaven, all of a sudden you get kicked down here. What you think that is? That's hell.
Yeah, that's right.
You live on the North Shore, and all of a sudden you have to live in Gary, Indiana. What's that? He was, boy, I'm in hell now.
Go ahead, bro.
Let's be real. So that's what happened. He was in heaven. He got kicked out. But where did he get kicked out to? Right here to the earth. But it called that hell, right? Because he's in a condition of hell. It even tell you, it gives you a description of him that is no description because it said delivered them into chains of darkness. What do you mean chains? Because he can't pop up and even show himself to us. See, he showed up to Adam and Eve. He showed up and talked to them because he can do that if God let him. Angels can show up. Angels can walk right past you. You won't see them. If they want to, they can materialize and you be looking at an angel. And you might think it's a person depending on how they come to you. So they can do that. That's why Hebrews 12 said, or 13 I think, he said, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, whereby some have entertained angels unawares. The angels can show up, which they have in the Bible. Satan is an angel. He can show up just like a man. If God let him. God ain't letting him do that no more. Because he'd be too slick for all of us. He was too slick for Adam and Eve. Only one he showed up since he got kicked out and he let him show up to Adam and Eve. Only other person he let him show up to like that was Jesus. He literally showed up and dealt with Jesus because Jesus had to be tempted as much as Adam. He had to be tempted in all counts, just like Adam. So he talked to Satan face to face. See, right now, only way you deal with Satan is through people he sent at you or through your own self. That's the only way you deal with. You have to talk to yourself. Get out of here.
There you go.
But now, that's what it said. If God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. Until their time is up, right? They got some time, but they in a condition of hell on the earth, but they not in hell fire, are they? Now let's go to Jonah. Back in the old days, Old Testament. Jonah 2. See, that's why the title is Hell, 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 because hell means different things in the Bible. Just like if I said bear, bear, bear. One bear could be talking about the bear in the woods. Another bear could be talking about the bear of your bird. You can talk about all kind of bears. You can throw in barefooted. But still, even though that's spelled different, don't nobody try to tell me, I know. But it's said the same way. So the same thing with hell. Hell can be talking about just a low condition, period. A bad situation, bad condition. It can be talking about specifically the grave when you die, go to the grave, go to hell, or the top of the line, hell, which really might as well be the bottom, is hell fire. That's the one you want to avoid. See, right now you can be in all kind of conditions of hell, but the one you must get out of is going to hell fire. Because that is not going to be where you just burn up and that's it. Or some people even say, well, you know, what God going to do? See, they philosophize. They say he wouldn't do that. What kind of God would do that to you? Surely not the loving God. He wouldn't do it. So what he going to do? On Judgment Day, he going to wake all the bad people up, and then he just going to put them back to sleep. That don't make no sense. For that, he could have let them stay asleep. Look, okay, I woke you up. You was bad. Go back to sleep. Even parents wake their kids up. If they mad at them, they wake them up and at least whoop them, don't they? They don't say, wake up, you been bad, go back to sleep. No, they wake them up, pow, pow. Did I tell you? Told you. God gonna wake you up and whoop you. And the only problem with this whooping is gonna last forever. It's gonna last eternity. You don't want to deal with that. Jonah, the 2nd chapter. Don't make no sense. But preachers don't want to talk about nothing negative because that's going to cut into their pocketbook money. They trying to get money. They trying to make people feel good. That's why they had nice music, make them feel real good so they can get some money out of these people. Even there, I seen one preacher talk about hell. He wouldn't say hell if it killed him. He wouldn't even say the word hell. He say, well, see, if you got to do right because, you know, you're going to be eternally lost. I want to talk to the TV, say, eternally lost where, man? You mean like you just going to be out floating in space, just lost? Don't make no sense. You're going to be eternally burning. Don't nobody want to say that, though. Jonah 2. Jonah 2. We're going to get to it. See, we're just dealing with the low-level hell now. We ain't got deep hell. Jonah 2:1. Go ahead.
Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord, his God, out of the fish belly.
Now, Jonah is where? In the fish belly, right? Jesus quoted this. He said, like Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights, so she be in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights, which do mean 3 days and 3 nights. People try to twist that. So Jonah is here. Jesus substantiated that Jonah went through this. Some people, you know, they try to use their natural mind. Well, how can a whale do that? Look, a whole lot of things can happen that God created that you don't even know about. So it said he prayed unto the Lord. See, Jonah didn't want to do what the Lord wanted him to do, and that was just preach to some people. But he didn't want them to hear it because he didn't want them to have a chance. He wanted God to kill those people because they had been doing his people wrong. So he said, why you going to want, you know, I know you merciful, God. You going to want me to preach them. They might listen. He didn't want them to listen. He didn't want God. He wanted God to destroy him. So he said, I ain't going to tell him nothing. He went the other way. But you can't get away from the Lord. He had a fish. It went through a lot of stuff. He ended up throwing off overboard from a ship, and he had a big fish, a whale, swallow him. Then he prayed unto God out of fish's belly and said what? Verse 2.
And said, I cried by reason of my affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou hearest my voice.
Now wait a minute. Where's Jonah at? Out of the belly of hell. He's in the belly of hell, but he's not literally in the lake of fire, hell fire, is he? No. We know where he at. He in the fish's belly. But he said out of the belly of hell. You know, like brothers, we get a lot of letters from brothers in prison, and they like to use that term. They say, I'm in the belly of hell, brother. Yeah, you're right. But most of them have done something to be in the belly of hell. But we know some innocent people go to jail, but still, they understand that they in a bad condition. They don't think they burned in hell fire. But now that's what Jonah was. He was out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest me. Verse 3.
For thou hast cast me into the deep, in the midst of the seas, and the flood compassed me about. All thy billows and thy waves passed over me.
See, in the water, in the whale's belly. But go ahead.
Then I said, I am cast out of thy sight, yet I will look again towards thy holy temple.
See, he was trying to get some redemption. Now he said, I'm cast out, but I'm still going to seek you. I'm going to look toward your holy temple, which is why we pray toward Jerusalem. We praying toward the holy temple. People need to know the importance of that. Then they understand how significant it is when the man moved from Rome to Jerusalem and take over the holy temple area. They're going to understand. They'd understand if they knew that was important to God. That's Jonah right. Understood it. But now, let's go to Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5. We're going to read a couple of verses here, starting at 13. Isaiah 5. Isaiah 5. And we're going to pick it up at 13. Okay, go ahead.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst.
See, that's how you can identify the real Israel. We had a lesson dealing with that. That's where Israel always end up in the Bible. That's where they are to this day. Where? He said, into captivity. You know what captivity is? Slavery. That's how you can identify them. That's where Israel got to be until Jesus returned.
That's right.
In slavery. That's your black history scripture for the day. He said, therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. And their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. See, so knowledge is the key, but because Israel didn't have none, he said they going into slavery. The honorable men don't have no understanding, the ones who's supposed to be honorable, and the multitude are therefore dried up with thirst. They starving for the word. They famished for the word. See, we didn't do what God wanted us to do, and that was it. But now, verse 14.
Therefore hell have enlarged herself.
Oh, therefore you mean hell getting bigger for you, huh? Hell hath enlarged herself. What hell is this talking about? We just saw what it's talking about, Israel going into captivity. See, Israel being in slavery. You think you ain't went through hell? You done been through hell and back again. This is hell. Anybody go through something terrible, you can say they are going through hell. People say it all the time, and they not lying. I'm catching hell. You right. Therefore, hell hath enlarged herself and did what?
And opened her mouth
and
without
opened
measure.
her mouth without measure. Go ahead.
And their glory, and their multitude, and their pomps, and he that rejoiced shall descend unto it.
See, he talking about Israel's predicament. Just like Satan got kicked out of heaven to the earth, it described it as hell, didn't it? Israel used to have a land. We had a land of our own, had kings, had queens. But all that got diminished when we made God mad. God sent us into slavery. Every good thing we had, it went into slavery with us. And it's no more, right? But he described that as hell, right?
That's right.
He said, my people are going into captivity because they have no knowledge. Then in verse 14, he said, therefore hell hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure. It said, we're going to make sure we got enough room for all y'all. And their glory, see, we had glory at one time. We shameful now. It's a shame. And their multitude and their pomp. And he that rejoices shall descend into all the goodness that Israel once knew is in hell.
Right.
It then went to hell. Because that's where they at. But now, let's go to, we're going to switch gears. Go to Psalms 18. Now we're going to look at kind of when it gets specific. Again, hell could mean just a lowly situation, period. But sometimes it's specifically talking about the grave or death in the grave. And then we know we're going to get to the last one. It's specifically talking about hell fire. So you got to separate what it's talking about each time. You got to read it in context. Just like if you was reading a sentence, depending on how the sentence was structured, you would know what type of bear it was referring to, even though it's spelled the same way.
Make it plain.